you don't perform good, you're gonna lose. So since day one, we were like training super hard. Didn't know jiu-jitsu would give me money. I didn't know anything, but I had that goal to become a jiu-jitsu world champion. I learned so much on that journey. That journey made me who I am. The year that I turned 18, I compete every freaking weekend.
Let's call one out.
I love to fight Kobe Covington. The last 3-4 years I've been thinking about it. Growing up in Brazil was very hard. A couple of times they cut off the lights because we didn't have money to pay the bill. We cut off the water. I never starved, but a couple of times was rough. Oatmeal for the whole week. January 2012 was my first professional fight. 2014 I signed with the UFC. I was 7-0, all finished in the first round. There are 3 ways to get paid in the UFC. Get your show money. If you win, you get your win bonus. And if it's a great fight of the night, a good performance, you go plus 50,000.
When you set your goal originally to be a jiu-jitsu world champion, your goal was way smaller than what you can achieve. And we are back in Miami with the Frankie Lee podcast. And today, guys, I have not disappointed you in the slightest. I've got the main man himself, Gilbert Burns from the UFC. Mate, unbelievable career, unbelievable. Everything you've done in your life has been unbelievable. But, you know, jiu-jitsu, everything else, the UFC, smashed it on all levels. Mate, I kind of want to start your career from... I was reading a story, and it was about your dad, and it's about how he obviously got you into jiu-jitsu in the first place. There was a guy who turned up at a car garage, wanted to maintain his car, and your dad was like, look, don't pay me in money, give my son 3 months jiu-jitsu training. And that's where I want to start this podcast from, because I think that's an unbelievable story to kind of start you into jiu-jitsu. So welcome to the show, and give me a bit of an insight into that.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, that's how I get into martial arts, to be honest. My first meeting with martial arts was same thing. My dad, we had a big backyard, and then he rented for karate professor. He was teaching for years, and then he moved out of state. And my daddy always worked at home. And back then, 1998, he has a mechanic shop. He was fixing the car, but the inside of the car, like the seats and everything. And it happens that one of these clients that show up was a jiu-jitsu coach. We found out because it was a gi inside of the car, and we were helping my dad with the job. And me and my brothers we start playing with the gi, and my daddy saw an opportunity. And he asked the guy, hey, whenever the service was done, he said, instead of you pay, can my kids do jiu-jitsu? I have no money, and we were broke back there. I remember my mom got very mad with the coach, with my dad, because we need that money.
Right, yeah.
But he kind of trading instead of get paid, so we could start training jiu-jitsu. And I remember clear. That moment I have a clear memory from that day. I remember that we start training, and we didn't have gis and anything, but we went there, we trained, and then we got back home. And my dad asked, hey, how was the first day? How was the jiu-jitsu? You guys have fun? You guys like it? And then he said, yeah, it was nice. We went to learn how to front row. We learned how to choke a little bit, arm bar, and we're telling the names. And then I remember, he stopped me and he said, okay, good. So if you guys really like it, you make sure you guys do your best over there. Make sure you're one of the best, because you guys only can train free for 3 months. And after that, I have no money to keep paying for you guys. So make sure you're one of the best over there, because after 3 months, I'm going to ask the coach to give you guys a scholarship, because I have no money. And if you guys are good, I think he's going to give. But if you guys are not good, if you guys don't behave, you guys are done, you know. And me and my brothers got crazy with that thing, knowing if you don't perform good, we're going to lose. So since day one, we were training super hard and getting there early, and then we got to help with the clean up. And then I remember 1 month after that was the first tournament. So they kind of asked who wants to do it. We just put our hands up. We get a sponsor paying off the cost. And then my both brothers won and I lost. And then the other month, we competed again. And the other month we competed again. We were training like very, very hard. And the coach loves us, and he never let us go. That was my beginning in the martial arts. And then after that, we kept competing, kept getting better, and we never stopped.
So what was it like for you when you first went into that jiu-jitsu gym? Did you kind of have a feeling that, you know, this is for me, this is what I want to do? Was it that kind of feeling, even though you were young, you kind of had an inkling that this is it?
Not on the beginning, because on the beginning, those other kids were smashing me. I didn't know anything. But I got there with the competition. When I got to the competition, the professor he let us know a little bit. When you get there, there's going to be people yelling. It's going to be a competition. But try to do the things that you're learning. And no pressure, just try your best. But then when I got in the competition, I don't know, I fell in love with the competition before I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, I was getting to the tournaments, a lot of kids, and we competing, trying to fight each other. I think I fall in love first with the competition, then with the jiu-jitsu. Then later on, when I was 15, 16, then I fell in love with jiu-jitsu more, training, and I love to train, and then I started doing extra things like judo and wrestling. I remember even biking. I would start biking to school just to get better cardio, and that was it. But my first love was with the competition.
I suppose doing jiu-jitsu at such a young age, kind of and growing up in Rio de Janeiro, would have protected you on the streets as well.
Yes, I believe so. Especially because I have two brothers. I'm the middle brother. I have older and young brother, and we always together, And then we used to, like I said, we did karate in the beginning, so we kind of know how to defend a little bit. But then we did jiu-jitsu and a little bit of karate, so yeah. Then we got way more confident to go anywhere, and it was danger, not that crazy. But in Brazil, right now is a different time. Now everybody has a gun. It's different. But back then, everybody kind of knew how to fight. You got to know how to fight in Brazil. And with the jiu-jitsu gave us a lot of confidence. Like even in the school, in the street, it gave us a lot of confidence.
I mean, we see all the top jiu-jitsu guys obviously coming out of Brazil like a conveyor belt, one after the other, world champion after world champion after world champion. And it's only getting better and better and better and better. Like, what was it like being in that competitive environment, though? Do you know what I mean? Because everyone there is like they're fighting for their life to come away from poverty to make something with jiu-jitsu so they can get into, the world stage or make something for their family.
It just makes super hard. The level goes up crazy. Everybody's trying to make it out of Brazil, Everybody's trying to make a name. Everyone's trying to make it a career. And it just makes it so hard. The competition, the level is so high. You gotta be too much of obsessed with the training and everything around training to improve, because you might be the guy at one tournament, but we have several tournaments during the year, just like Olympic boxing, just like every other high-level tournament. You're going to face the guy again in a couple months, maybe in a couple weeks. And you got to keep up. The level that you need to have with obsessed to get better is super high, because everyone wants to get out of there. Everyone wants to make money. Everybody in Brazil wants to become a champion. To get out of Brazil on regular basis, like if you do a regular school and college, it would be so hard to get out of there.
Yeah.
And then we see, especially in the neighborhood that's a little bit more poor, the sports, that's the way, that's the way we do it. The guy's trying to be a soccer player or a fighter, and I think that was the way out. So then we gotta work extremely hard and compete and do good, and then eventually we're gonna succeed and be able to make a life out of that. But the level, I just remember the level was just so high, and I remember when I was turning 18, they have so many tournaments, and then I want to do all the tournaments. So that's how I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get to a next belt, and then I'm gonna get close to become a world champion. And I remember the year that I turned 18, I compete every freaking weekend. Every weekend. Maybe I get one weekend that was free the whole year, maybe 2. But I remember they have a tournament on Saturday at one place, and like 2-3 hours away, they have another tournament on Sunday, and I was doing that. I was doing like 5-6 matches on Saturday, go home, rest up, and next day I'm going like for 3 hours driving or getting a bus to get to another tournament. So the level keep getting better, so I keep getting better. So that was the beginning, like competing, getting better, and obsessed with that. I remember a lot of friends going out and going to parties, and I was just like, you know what? That's what I want. And I remember going obsessed with that. Like since I was 16, I knew that's what I want to do. I want to become a jiu-jitsu world champion. And like I can clearly say that I give my all in. Like I was all in on that, and super like crazy discipline, more obsessed because I didn't know that I could become a champion and go to the UFC and making money out of that and make a living out of that. Back then, I wasn't thinking so much in a financial way. It was just a dream to become a world champion, you know. And then I think money and things will be behind that, but the dream, the goal, the thing was to become a world champion in jiu-jitsu.
I think the people that I've spoken to that always put the dream first, the money always follows, where I think the people that go in search of the money always fall short, in my experience from like seeing what's happened in boxing. I've had a lot of talented mates that would have been world champions, but because they started to pursue the money too early, they fell off, and they fell off in their careers at a time when really they should have been taking off. They were falling off. They were getting into the drugs, the alcohol, the women, and everything else that stops you getting to that top level of the game.
Too much distraction.
Too much distraction. Do you obviously look? When I was studying your career before this podcast, I thought your mindset must be bulletproof to go through every adversity and everything that you've been through to get to even get to the UFC. In essence, I thought, fuck me, this guy's been through a shit lot. But when you get there, is it on that journey to the UFC and on that journey to the pinnacles of the sport, what you've done? Do you remember the first time you ever doubted yourself?
Yes, I did a couple of times, and I really had to dig deep and see how much I wanted, because I remember I had couple phases that I doubt myself, you know, especially the moment of transition. Those transition was the hardest part for me, because I remember when I was in Brazil, I think I was 20 when I got my black belt, and I was doing college. I have a sponsor that, like I said, the growing up in Brazil was very hard, you know, like a couple of times they cut off the lights because we didn't have money to pay the bill. We cut off the water. It was kind of, sometimes when my dad got a client, we good, we sat for a couple of weeks, but then we're chasing for another client. On that main time, sometimes things got tough. I never starved, but a couple of times was rough, you know, just oatmeal for the whole week, and then it was rough. But then growing up a little bit, I saw a couple of tournaments I was making a little bit of money, not real money, but a little bit just to get by. But I had a couple of sponsors, especially that one guy that he passed away. He was older, but he owns a company in Brazil. And that guy helped me big time, you know. He was the one that, like, I don't know what he saw in me, but he saw a guy super hungry, and then he started paying all my tournaments and competing. And he was the one that paid my international travels, a lot of travels. And he put me on the college. He was paying to my college. And that was one of the hardest moments that I had, that I started doubting myself, because I got my black belt, but I was doing college. I wasn't trained like I used to train. So I went to the U.S. That was the first jiu-jitsu tournament worlds in the U.S. Since 2006 was every time the World Jiu-Jitsu tournament was in Rio. 2007 they changed to California. So he got my visa. I went to the U.S. to compete. I was second place, lost in the finals on the brown belt. Got back to Brazil, was earning my black belt. But then when I earned my black belt, it was I just lost the word. Still second place, but I lost, And I was doing college. I wasn't trained as I could because of college. And then when I got back, they had a tournament. Like I said, I was training, but not as I was doing before at that moment. And that was my first tournament on a black belt. And I beat a lot of guys that were great. They were doing good for years, because whenever you get a black belt, you just go your black belt. But the guy's been there already, like a pro, like a boxer that was Olympic amateur boxing. He did great, but now he becomes pro. But the pro's been there for years. Now you got to prove yourself. It's the same thing with the black belt. Whenever you got your black belt, those guys been black belt for years. So that was the hardest part. But when I got my black belt, I remember I was beating at that tournament. I had my first 5 fights. I beat high level guys, and I lost on the finals by 1 advantage to a guy that was a 3rd place in the world. That I was 2nd place in the brown belt. He was just a 3rd place, and then they have another division. So I lost on that finals. I beat a couple more guys, and I did the finals with this guy again, and I lost by half a decision. And that was when it hit me. I said, man, I wasn't even trained that hard, and I almost beat the guy that was the 3rd place in the world. I gotta change, I gotta do something. Then I kind of know, we know each other very well in the jiu-jitsu. Still a big community, but it's still a small community. Everyone knows everyone. And I know they were having a good training in São Paulo. It's a different state. I used to live in Rio, so in São Paulo they have a good training. They were training all day, 3 times a day, great training. And I thought about going to São Paulo, so I went to São Paulo a little bit. I was there for 2 weeks. I trained. I loved the training. But then I got back because, like I said, I have a college. That sponsor was paying my college. I wasn't making money, but I had a motorcycle that he was paid for. I have a college that was paid for. Any tournaments, I have the guys that were paying for. It was kind of comfortable position. But then I said, like, here in Rio, and it was in the same moment that everyone in Rio started doing MMA Vale Tudo back there. So the jiu-jitsu level went down a little bit. The jiu-jitsu in São Paulo started dominating Brazil. So I know I got to go to São Paulo, but that was the hard decision that I did myself. Because if I was moving to São Paulo, I would let go my sponsors. I would let go college. I would drop off college. But I still want to do it. Like, my gut was saying go and give it all, and I know it's going to be good. But then there was a fight with my parents because my parents don't want me to drop off college. Like, we've grown up in a very poor neighborhood, like, didn't have a lot. Now I have a chance to do college, and I want to drop off. So the conversation with my dad, it was, like, very hard. But then, anyways, I decided to go. End of 2007, I moved to São Paulo, and that was super rough because I have a comfortable situation at that time. Everything paid for, college, training, competition. When I moved to São Paulo, I moved like with no money and start from scratch. Then I started working security on the weekends to just pay my bill. And I remember if I'd exchange my bill back then, we live in a very small place, like very, 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 very small apartment with just 1 bedroom, 4 guys living in there, in a studio, very small studio, and we split that for 4 guys. Was 4 guys living in there, and then the rent was not even $10. In a couple of months, they didn't have those $10 to pay. So I was doing security. Whenever they have security, couple weeks they don't have. So in that year, 2008, end of 2007, beginning 2008, that was a hard year for me because it was one of my first years as a black belt. Like I said, everybody been a black belt for years. I just got my black belt. Did good at the first tournament, but then started not doing that good. And then I let go college. I let go my family. I went to São Paulo, working, training. And that was the moment that man, what I'm doing, should I be here? Should I not? And then I remember I was kind of battle. I was a little bit on the battle, like fighting to those thoughts. And then I always had bronchitis growing up, and then I had a crazy of bronchitis. I started getting sick, and I was broke. Like, I had no money for medicine or anything, and then like, shit. And I got those phone coins that I gotta get the pay phone. I got a couple coins. I was calling my mom to ask for money just to get a medicine to get by that week. And I remember when I was calling my mom, I haven't talked to her in like a couple weeks. So when I call her, I was just like, hey, Mom, how's everything? How you doing? Before I ask for money. And they say, yeah, it's been tough. It's not good. How's you doing over there? Do you have any money to send to me? And then I was calling her for ask for money. And before I asked, she asked me for money. That was another thing that I was just like, oh, shit, okay. I don't have yet, but I'm going to send it to you. Don't worry about it. And then whenever I turned the phone off, I was just like, man, now I'm going to make it happen. You know, that was a moment of doubting to the whole process, especially that I was getting sick. But then when I was talking to my mom, that one hits me. I say, okay, now I'm going to make it happen. You know, now I have to make it happen, you know, and that was... But yeah, I've been, especially in those transitions when I move out of state, I had a lot of doubts. But then I have a confirmation. And then when I was doing the MMA too, I had a couple moments that I had a lot of doubts, but I had that confirmation, you know. So, yeah, a couple moments that sometimes I was having a lot of doubts and I was fighting myself and fighting my own thoughts. But then kind of God sent me the confirmation. Then I say, okay, let's keep going. Let's hustle a little bit more.
I think that's a beautiful way to kind of realize that, you know, you're on this path and you have to relentlessly chase what you want. Otherwise, you know, the world's going to keep giving you reminders to put you back on that path. And I think your mum asking for that money at that time, just before you were about to ask for that money, was a pattern interrupt to you and kind of said to you, hey, look, you're the man in the house. We need you to do this because you've got to provide for all of us, kind of thing. And I think that kind of flicked that switch in your mind. If there's anyone listening to this right now that's going through a moment in their life where they're doubting themselves, what would your advice as a champion be?
We all have those moments, you know. I think we all have difficult moments, and I'll try to embrace that for a little bit more, you know. It's not going to suck forever. It's not going to be that hard forever. But on the same way, all those hard moments that I had, it make me who I am, you know. It make me a real fighter. It make me, whenever I get a call from the UFC and we have these guy that no one wants to fight. Do you want to fight? I always say yes. I've been through so much that it's gonna be a fight, you know, for sure. I'm gonna get ready for. I'm gonna get prepared for. I'm gonna prepare for. But it's no challenge that whenever you go through a lot that they're gonna kind of be afraid of. That you're gonna be like, they're not gonna take it, you know. And then nowadays, for every loss that I had, for every hard moment of my life, growing up or competition, I'm very thankful for, because it make me who I am. It make me have the desire that I have. It make me have the strength that I have. So anyone going through a hard moment, I think you just try to stay strong for that moment a little bit more. You know, sometimes the easy way out is just to quit, to stop. But at that moment, for sure, I thought about stop. But I remember, it's a couple moments that I have that is clear. Like, I remember me on the phone, calling her to ask them for money. And then when she asked me first, it kind of broke me down. But in the same way, I couldn't show her. I said, okay, don't worry. I don't have it right now, but I'm going to have it. I'm going to send it to you. Don't worry. And because sometimes we focus so much in us, and sometimes we have a lot of people that depending on us that is kind of counting on you. And when I took that as a responsibility, I didn't took that on a bad way. That, oh, shit, now I got to help my mom. I didn't took that on a negative way, like, shit. No, I not only got to provide for me, but for my family, but I took that on a good way as a good responsibility. I'm not doing that only for me, you know. I'm doing that for my family, too. And that hits me very hard, very deep, that it gives me extra energy, gives me extra motivation. So anyone that's struggling out there, I just think you gotta, especially at that moment, I remember I had a clear goal, and I wrote that down, and I had wrote down a couple places that I want to become a world champion. And sometimes it's a test, you know. It's how bad do you really want, like how much do you really want, and especially at that moment in Brazil, a lot of guys were training as hard as me, maybe suffering as much as me, but sometimes it's who can take a little bit more, you know, who can keep taking and keep going.
I think one of the things that I've kind of figured in life is you need a why. You need a why you're doing it. It's not just about you didn't just you wrote the goal down to be a world champion. I've no doubt about that, but that wasn't your why. Your why was something deeper ingrained in you behind that. And that's what's helped you overcome everything. You know, your why was you wanted to provide for your family. Your why was you didn't want to see your family or you struggle for food again. Your why was to be able to not have your dad where he had to go and, you know, do a whole interior of a car this week and then not have one for 3 weeks. You wanted to make sure that everything was covered that way. The world champion was the goal, but the why was something a lot deeper ingrained in you from a young age than just being a world champion, I think.
Yeah. I think that why I call purpose. You need to have a purpose. You need to only the money, only the gold, only the status. I think that he's not gonna give you the You're not gonna give it that drive, that will. And during the way too, I had a lot of things that even make the purpose even harder. I remember my older brother. That's why I have the nickname Durinho, because my older brother was todo duro, so he was the very tough. I was the little tough. My older brother was very good. Like, he used to train super hard, and I remember one of our heroes was Vitor Shaolin Ribeiro. He was 3 times black belt world champion. He was the first one fighting out of Brazil in Japan on the lighter weight. And he was a freaking monster. And then we always look up for him because he was very disciplined. He was like a freaking samurai, doing everything. And that was the guy that I would start copying. And I said, okay, I want to be like this guy. And I remember we were living in Niterói. It's a city like, you just cross the bridge, like 20 minutes, you in Rio. And they had that great training in Nova União when they make guys like Vitor Shaolin, like Jose Aldo, bunch of other great guys. And right on the beginning, like I said, when I was 16, that I was taking more serious, I was just following my older brother. And my older brother, I remember Vitor Shaolin had a big fight in Japan coming up. And then he asked my older brother to help him with the training. And then my brother didn't know much fighting, but there was a good grappler. And then he said, let's do grappling, but we can't slap each other. And he beat the shit out of my brother, but he was our hero. So even though my brother got beat up, we were so happy. We were in ecstasy. Like, I was so happy for my brother. Like, man, you're training Shaolin, like, wow. And then we were on the bus back home, like, we were just, like, super happy. And then at the end of the training, Shaolin gave my brother a short, like a Vale Tudo short, and made sure that we were so happy, like, wow, you got the short, like crazy. And then I remember that same day when we got home, my dad was, like we said, we were struggling with money. Back then, jiu-jitsu wasn't as close as big as today that people go teaching in Abu Dhabi in the U.S., so it wasn't that big. And then I remember when we got home, my dad was kind of like, he was super upset because he was putting a lot of emphasis in jiu-jitsu, and back then that wasn't giving any money back. And my dad was, hey, can you give me, like, I remember, like, can you give me $2? He asked that question to my brother. My brother, no, like, what do you mean? He knows. And my dad, but you, because I was 16, my brother was about to be 18. And then he was like, you're about to be 18, you don't have no money. And he put a lot of pressure on my brother, and there was a big fight that we had. And then my brother has to go to a military school back then, that time, when they fought. And then nowadays he's a Navy SEAL in Brazil. He's still training jiu-jitsu, black belt in jiu-jitsu, in judo, badass. But back then, me as a 16, seeing, especially that day that he trained with our hero, that was, we was in ecstasy, and my dad kind of took that away, and then he didn't force it, but we were broke. So he was the older brother. He has to work, he has to help to provide. But on my mind, the way I see was his dream, my brother's dream, was taken away from him. He couldn't do jiu-jitsu anymore. Later, he kind of got back, but he lost the momentum that he was doing. And I took that, I didn't took that super well back then, but I took it as a responsibility. Oh, shit, my brother cannot train anymore. I can't. So I got to, it was even more pushing to myself.
So you realized how lucky you were in that moment to be able to have the time to train.
Yeah, I was just like, man, shit, now I got to train even more. I got to do even more. And I think those pushes kind of helped me through. On the beginning was my dad. Hey, if you don't train hard, you're not going to be able to train. After 3-4 more years, my brother was taken away. And I was just like, oh, shit, I don't want that to be taken away from me. So now I really got to push it hard. And those moments, and then when I moved out of São Paulo, and then I had that, my mom asking for money. Oh, shit, now I got to push it even harder. So every couple of years, I had a little...
Turn the screw.
I got to go harder now. I got to push it up. I got to do more. And the do more was, I don't know, running after training, and doing the extra reps, and training more, and pushing more, and competing more, and doing more. And I think that kind of... Eventually, that was getting me ahead of competition, like... on a different way, physically, emotionally, mentally. Those extra pushes was getting me ahead of everybody in the competition, And then it just like when I see all the documentaries, or a couple clips from Kobe Bryant, the way he was like, I'm gonna train more, I'm gonna wake up early, I'm gonna do those extra sessions, and he wasn't thinking that for tomorrow, for next month. He would say, if I keep doing that consistently for years,
it compounds.
It compounds, yeah. It gets you ahead. And I think those pushes, it helped me to get ahead of competition, then move into MMA. And then I had another moment that I got to move out of Brazil. So I think all those turning moments, it helped me so much.
When you're obviously doing that much training and putting in that much effort, like a Kobe Bryant was, and you're seeing yourself as the Kobe Bryant of jiu-jitsu now, you're looking at your whole entire training regime like that. What are you doing for longevity in terms of, because I mentioned to you on the way up here to the podcast, obviously you're currently coming back now, but you said, and I said, how long have you got left? And you told me how long you got left in terms of like years left in the sport. And you said, But I'm in good shape because of good longevity. What have you done your whole career to increase that longevity and make sure that you can get to the level you got to?
I was always that guy that was very hard for me to get hurt. I never got hurt that much, and then along the way studying that with a couple of different nutritionists, I learned that the type of body kind of helps a lot of that. The genetics helps a lot. I'm a type of blood O positive, so it's a very good type of blood. Like most of the Olympic champions, the high level champions, the guys that broke records, they that type of blood because they can take a lot of more physically. I don't have a lot of surgery, even though I've been doing jiu-jitsu for years, since I was 12. I don't have that many. I don't have surgeries on my body from fighting. And I learned how to take care a lot of myself. One thing that I was doing wrong for a couple of years, I was cutting a lot of weight. Then I moved up on the division, so I cut way less weight. That helped a lot of my organs on my body. I bought a cold plunge. I have a cold plunge at home, maybe 2-3 years already that I've been doing the cold plunge daily. I have a sauna. I have all the tools, normal attack, machine guns, and then those massage guns, and bunch of other things. I have my own therapist that I work with him every week. I eat on a very healthy lifestyle. I try to eat. For sure, I'm not perfect. For sure, I give myself those cheat days that I can enjoy and eat whatever I want. But most of the days I eat super clean. I pay a lot of attention on my hydration. And I try to train very smart right now. Like, I still train super hard, but it's on a smart way to, recovering a lot, doing a lot of stretching. I have a coach that does a lot of movement. I have a movement coach. I have my therapist. I have all my machine tools to get better. And I don't abuse so much of my body like I used to when I was a kid. Before was a lot of physically, a lot of running, a lot of... Nowadays, I instead of run so much, I bicycle a lot. I just bicycle this morning before I come. I have a group that we do a lot of miles. I just try to be more aware that I still want to take my body 3 to 4 more years. I know I can do 3 to maybe 4 more years. I don't think I can do more than that on the highest level. And to do that on the highest level, I got to take care of my body with the food, or organic, grass-fed, great food that gives me energy, a great food, supplements, and a lot of recovery tools.
Run me through some of the supplementation that you take to keep your body in top shape, because it interests me a lot, because obviously there's a lot of supplementation out there that I think people take that's absolutely unnecessary. I just would just be really good to get your insights into what is good and what you found really helps your body.
Yeah, it's very personal. Like, I've been working with this doctor, Marcelo Ferro. He's one of my nutritionists. He showed me the nutrition a little bit oriental way. Couple things are very good to eat during the day. Couple things are very good to eat at night. He does a lot of things that have been helped me a ton. And at night, we're not supposed to eat a lot of raw. Any raw food at night is not too good for the body. And I don't do a lot of red meat at night. I do during the day. I love red meat, but it does very good for my body during the day, not at night, because it takes so much time to digest, and my body's starting to get cold to get me on the sleep mode. So if I have a red meat, it's going to take a while to my body to get cold. So that's a couple things. And the supplement's very individual the way he does. Like, my young brother, we're from the same blood, same family, and it's very different supplementation that I have. But I do a good amount of magnesium, 3 different types of magnesium. I do a lot of electrolytes because I used to cut a lot of weight in training so much. I get dehydrated super fast. For testosterone, he does a lot of Tongatiali, is the one that we do. And especially with USADA, I have 58 clean tests by USADA. I already got my jacket. Whenever you have 25 clean tests, you got a shirt. Whenever you get over 50,000 cleans, you get a jacket. I'm already 58 clean tests by the USADA. So all the supplementation I do is super clean, super proof.
And there's not many fighters in the UFC that can say they're clean at all, like, to be honest.
Yes, I can. I'm proud to say I can. And those guys been testing me everywhere. They have my whereabouts. That's the crazy thing with the UFC. I got to give my whereabouts. If I'm in Brazil, I got to let them know that I'm in Brazil. They test me in Brazil. Or I'm going to Australia, I might get tested in Australia. I was in Singapore. I could get tests in Singapore. They have all my whereabouts. And I'm very proud to say that I'm super clean because I'm 37 years old. Like I said, I think I have 3, maybe 4 more years in my career, and I'm be on the highest level for years. You know, I fought for the title like 3 years ago, and I stay on the top 5. I was number 1 for over a year, number 2 for 2 years. Now I'm in the top 5 of the UFC, fighting the best guys, and I'm 37. And I still believe I can do that for a little bit more years because of that, because of the supplementation. So coming back from supplementation, what else I take? I take a lot of things from my joints. I love to take care of my joints.
Like cod liver oil and all that kind of stuff.
Cod liver oil, you know. I do boswellia. I do glutathione a lot. And very different ways to supplement. One thing that I do take very serious my sleep. My sleep gotta be on point. And I was doing a lot of CBD to help on my sleep, but today I changed for mushrooms. I do a lot of mushrooms for sleep. It's not the mushroom, the tea, the one that psychedelic.
Yeah,
it's the one that distracts of mushroom. And I do reishi from my guys from Life Cycle. And these mushrooms been helping me big time, like crazy. Because when I first heard that, like, might be these other things, but last week I was in Singapore. Next week I'm going to Australia. And one of the things that keep me very good at the jet lag is the mushrooms. Because whenever I need to read or whenever I need to do a podcast or interview or appearance with the fans, I took the lion's mane is the one that helped me with the focus, but the one that I take at night and whenever I need to relax, because I'm a little bit hyperactive and sometimes I go crazy whenever I start talking, whenever I start having a conversation, I just keep going. And to calm me down, I've been using reishi. He's another one that helped me a lot. So I'm big on supplementation.
How long were you testing it for to find out that it was adequate for your needs and it gave you the right results?
Like I said, I've been taking supplements for years. I've been doing those things for years, and my body adapts super fast, recognize things super fast. I can like drink the water, and as I'm jugging the water, I say, oh, I don't like the water or food. My body kind of is very sensitive with the supplement, with the water, with a drink. I don't drink at all because of that, too.
I've never touched alcohol myself.
Oh, that's so cool. I never touched any drug. Yeah. I never smoked. I never did nothing. I never even tried. But I always had a drink. But that kind of turns me on a little bit. Like couple times I drink and I forgot what I did. Like it gets too crazy for me with drinking, so I quit drinking.
I think when you get to the level of martial artist that you are, I think it's disrespectful to drink because you're dangerous when you're intoxicated. Essentially, not to yourself, but to other people as well.
I'm not danger on the fight. I don't think I'll ever fight because I get more relaxed, more friendly. Yeah. But I drink a couple times and I don't remember what I did. Especially back in the days, I remember we were going to that type of concert, and then I drink a little bit, and then I was.
Because you Brazilians love a party.
In the top of the concert with the guy singing right there, and then I don't remember. So it was that crazy. So that I kind of blacked out, and then I did a lot of things that I don't remember. And even though I have a great relationship with my wife, and I was drinking here and there, but I think 2 years ago, maybe more, I quit. And then I was always weak. It was always one drink or two beers, and I was out.
How important has it been having a wife that you love and that is supportive of your career? How much has that benefited you?
Oh, 100%. Like, she's the big number one support. I think I'm pretty sure that if I didn't have Bruna giving me 100% of support, I don't think I'll be here, to be honest, because she goes beyond, you know. Like, she cooks all that food that I say that I eat super healthy, that I do. She does.
She cooks it all.
She cooks at all. And she can cook. And she can cook. So, she does everything. So,
how long have you been with her?
I've been with her since 2010.
I've been married for how long?
I've been married since we married super close. We get together into end of 2009 to 2010. That's 13 years. We've been married 11 years. Yeah.
And in 2010, you must have been starting to get a bit of a name for yourself. So when you're getting a bit of a name for yourself in martial arts and, you know, going on to look to get into the UFC and all that stuff, how did you know that she was the one particularly?
Whenever I met her, it was 2010. I still in São Paulo, Rio. Getting a little bit better, but it didn't degrade in jiu-jitsu. I think my best year in jiu-jitsu was after I met her, 2010 and 11. 2010 was Brazilian national champion, a black belt, European champion, start traveling more, making more money, World No-Gi champion. 2011 was my best year when I became a jiu-jitsu world champion in jiu-jitsu, and she was by my side. I don't know, that was a crazy chemical with her. On the beginning, I felt she was the one, right on the beginning. And the great thing was she was competing in jiu-jitsu too. She was a brown belt. Couple years that we were together, she got a black belt. So I knew her for tournaments, from competition. She was competing as well. Yeah.
So she understood the life. Yeah, she understood.
I think that's what make it easier, because she knows what it takes. She was, especially back then, she was trying to become a champion herself. But like, women's, especially MMA, got big maybe after Ronda Rousey. That's 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more. But at her time, 2010, 8, 9, when she was trying, was too small. You know, she couldn't do it. But it was great to be with her, and then she's been helping my career like it. She does everything, like all the payments, everything, all the cooking, all the cleaning. I'm for sure still help her a lot. I still do a lot, but she does. She's like my number one support on everything.
Did she kind of happily forego her career to kind of make sure that you were kind of facilitated in your growth and everything like that? Because it kind of sounds like she's giving everything to you because she wants to see you achieve what perhaps she couldn't herself because she didn't have the opportunity. Yeah,
I agree. She kind of gave out her own competition and everything for me, you know, and she supports me big time. It's like she getting better now, reading the contracts. She do even investments. Like now we have a different investments. We do a little money in stock. We're doing money on real estate. We put in a lot of different monies. Now I'm investing in a supplement. We're doing a lot of different things, and she takes care of all of that. You know, right now that I don't have a fight, I'm just doing a lot of PT, doing my cardio, getting back, lifting, getting back in shape. I'm more aware of everything that is happening. But the moment that I'm back on training, on track, I don't look at that at all. And then especially when I sign a fight agreement, then I'm like 100% fighter. I just rest for sure. I still watch the guy's tape. I study the guy, talk to the coach, have a meeting. But I just train pretty much, rest, recover, training, rest, recover. Fighting, I do, like I said, I have my own strength conditioning, my own therapist, my own psychologist. I do my social media. I have everything. That's what I'm focused on when I have a fight. And then she kind of, I don't even know when it's due payments. I don't do payments.
That's not even not on your radar.
I don't take a look at that at all. I don't even know, like,
because wasn't your first UFC fight a complete call out of the blue for you? Because I think I was reading you were being a grappling coach at the time on TV, on a TV show, and then someone pulled out of a fight and they called you, something like that.
A little bit like that. So 2011, I reached my goal. I became a jiu-jitsu world champion. That was in California. On June, on a Sunday. And I was in California, I was in LA. I had a couple seminars scheduled. Whenever you become champion, your name is out there. There's a lot of opportunities, sponsors, seminars, super fights. And then on Wednesday, I went to one of my sponsors, and then Vitor Belfort was there. And Vitor Belfort back then was the guy. He's still one of the biggest guys in Brazil. And he was the guy with MMA, with the jiu-jitsu. And then everybody was kind of beat up from the tournament. And then he asked if I want to train. I said, yeah, for sure I want to train. And then we trained, we did a couple drills. And he was a sponge. He was asking everything. Especially back then, my jiu-jitsu was so sharp. I just became a world champion. And they, how you take the back, how you do these specific moments with jiu-jitsu. And I was showing him everything. And that was another moment that I was just like, okay, I'm done with the jiu-jitsu. What I'm going to do now? I have two options, with clear options on the table. Be a multiple-time jiu-jitsu world champion or do MMA. And I really want to do it MMA, but I had that goal that I want to become a jiu-jitsu world champion first. And I was driving for that. But whenever I accomplish, I was just like, what now? What am I going to do now? It was going towards MMA, but then when I met Vitor, he needs a guy to train his jiu-jitsu. And then he asked me, do you want to, I can pay you, we come to Vegas, I want you to help with my jiu-jitsu. And were you thinking about doing MMA? I said, yes, I'm thinking of doing MMA. So that was it. I met Vitor on Wednesday. After I was jiu-jitsu world champion on Sunday. Saturday, I was in Vegas. I canceled a couple seminars. I was going to Australia. That would be my first time going to Australia. I canceled that seminar. And I started training Vitor for his fight. And I started training MMA myself. And I remember Monday. Monday was an Extreme Couture. Bought my mouthpiece. Got the gloves. Got the shin guards and everything. And I did my... Monday I trained with Vitor in the morning. And Monday night I trained the amateur. They had an amateur class, but those guys were just crazy guys that maybe watch a fight on Saturday, show up on the gym on Monday. It was super amateur. I just kind of took everyone down to meet those guys pretty easy. Like I said, I was jiu-jitsu world champion at that time, a week prior there, so they make me go on Tuesday for the pro class, pro sparring on Tuesday. And then I have a mouthpiece from the Walmart so bad it couldn't even
bite down on your gut. It wasn't even fitting your gums or nothing.
It was that bad. And then when I start training, we warm up a little bit. And I have a guy that's Gray Maynard. He just fought for the title at that time. I had a couple high-level fighters, Tyson Griffin, Evan Dunham, all UFC guys, high-level at the time. Jay Hero was a Bellator top contender. After a little bit, he fought Ben Askren for the Bellator title. It was just those high-level guys. Michael Chandler was 4-0, and he was doing his Bellator debut. It was a lot of high-level fighters, and I was right there. And first day was a mess. I got nose bleeding. I got beat up. I was in a great shape because I was just a jiu-jitsu champion, but when you change it to punches and the takedowns, against a couple of wrestlers, whenever I could took these guys down, it was great. A couple of guys, they were high-level wrestlers, was defending my takedowns. They would beat the crap out of me. So first day was great because it was a little wake-up call because...
Now this is serious.
This is serious. Because my ego was a little, I became a world champion. I was a little
inflated.
A little inflated. I won't say cocky, but I was feeling great. I just achieved my dream. A week after that, I was getting my butt handled for these guys. I was just like, it was just hard. But I think because it was too hard and because it was too intense, you become a patient right there. I started loving that right there. Because it was so hard, I said, okay, that's what I do. That's what I want to do right now. It was that crazy just because we're so challenging that I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do right now. And then I make a decision right there, and then I kept training at Extreme Couture with Vitor. Then I went to corner Vitor to his first UFC fight, and that was me visualizing myself be in the UFC soon. Okay, I'm gonna be here soon. And Vitor beat Yoshihiro Yakiyama. That was the first time that I cornered Vitor in the UFC. And that was crazy because Rashad Evans was the main event. And then he fought Tito Ortiz in UFC Philadelphia. And my main coach right now, one of my mentors, a good friend of mine, Henry, he was there at that night cornering Rashad Evans. And today he's my main coach, but he was there my first UFC event. And yeah, then I cornered Vitor a couple more times, and we went to the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter show in Brazil. I was the jiu-jitsu coach at that show. Then I cornered Cesar Ferreira a couple of times. I went 1-0 in 2012. And then I was running, getting a couple fights after fights. 2012, January 2012 was my first professional fight. 2014, I signed with the UFC. I was 7-0, all finished in the first round. Got my first 3 fights in the UFC. I was 10-0.
So was there a lot of talk on the inside of UFC about you?
They knew me already. I was the jiu-jitsu champion. The crazy thing too, at that finals, still nowadays they said it was the hardest bracket in the whole lightweight division in the jiu-jitsu tournament, because we have several guys who were champions. And my finals was against Kron Gracie. That was Rickson Gracie's son. Rickson Gracie's son now fights in the UFC too. But it got bigger because I was world champion, beating Rickson Gracie's son in the finals. So that thing was so big, and then I became Vitor Belfort jiu-jitsu coach, and then the UFC, and then I started going behind the scenes, and it was just getting closer because I'm gonna be here, and I knew everybody, and I started calling everybody by the name. I met Dana, I met everybody, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna be here soon. And less than 2 years since my pro fight, I got in the UFC, and still chasing that dream to become a UFC champion.
What is it that kind of keeps driving you, though, to want to become a UFC champion when you've already done so much? I mean, there must, because when we go back through this podcast, and I said, it wasn't just about you becoming a jiu-jitsu world champion. It was about your why, and your why back then was about, feeding your family. Your why back then was about feeding yourself. Your why was about changing your family's position. You've now done that. You've now made money. You've now made cash. You've changed your family's position. You've changed your life. You provide for your wife. So what is the drive and what is the why now? Because that why isn't there anymore.
Not that one, but a lot of different whys. The way I see right now, where I came from, not a lot of guys came. Not. My brother came. My brother is in South Florida here too. He opened up a gym. But if I saw my neighbors, saw the guys that start training with me in the same gym with maybe more potential, those guys didn't made it the way I made it. So I still think one of the main reason that I think I'm not done yet. I came far, very far, but I still believe it has a lot more to go. I still want to provide for my family for generations. I still want my son to be great and have all of that. They already have a lot more than I dream about her. I still think I can give him more. And couple other ways too. I do believe I inspire a lot of people in Brazil. But becoming a champion, I still think it's going to be even bigger. I can show to a lot of more people. But I just see it. I'm not. I agree with what you said. I still get way more money right now. I own my house at home. I own another house. I'm doing business. But I don't feel fulfilled yet with not being the champion, not being the best, because I know I can be. And I came that far. It feels that I'm getting closer and closer. It's just a little bit more. Just keep it hustling a little bit more. I could call a career right now and say I'm done, but
you know there's something. There's some more left. Yeah,
still a lot left. I don't think it will be fulfilled right now. I don't think it will be done. And it will be very hard for me with living with myself, knowing I could have done more. And that kills me. That thing that I know I never left nothing behind with jiu-jitsu. I give everything I have. I made a couple decisions, a couple risk decisions, drop out of college, went on a different state, fought with my parents back then to achieve that dream. Got the responsibility for my older brother. He couldn't train. I can train. I'm going to push my best. I still feel in that way. I still can give more. I still have more to give. Like, that bucket is still full. I still can do more.
I think the most beautiful thing about what you've just said there isn't just the fact that you think you've got more to give. I think the most beautiful thing that I've kind of identified from you saying that is that when you set your goal originally to be a jiu-jitsu world champion, your goal was way smaller than what you can achieve. And what I want everyone that listens to you say that to understand right now is that the goals that you're setting in your life right now are way smaller than what you could possibly ever achieve. So you should increase the level of your goals, because Gilbert Burns here is a perfect example of someone who shot for this massive goal in his mind, achieved it and absolutely surpassed it, and now is going to go for an even bigger goal. I think the goal at the start should have been the UFC champion from the jump, with along the way, because like you're gonna do it, aren't you? You're gonna make this stuff happen.
Yes, I do believe I'm gonna make it happen. But yeah, and now it makes me think about it.
Is this a different way of thinking? Isn't it? I've had so many goals in life, and when I've achieved this pinnacle big goal that I thought was going to be my life's purpose, my life's work, when I got there, classic example, when I worked world title level in boxing, when I got there, I realised, hold on a minute, there's way more levels to this.
Way more.
There's way more levels. This doesn't even encapsulate the surface. I've not even touched the surface of what I can do in life, and it's just, you're someone that's been around the world and been to many countries. I'm well travelled and been to many countries, creating opportunities. And it's just like, you just see, hold on a minute, our goal 3 years ago or 10 years ago to achieve this level of stuff was way too small. That's what I've always experienced in life. And I think when you said that just now, I think that reminded me of that. Holy fuck, I need to. It's like, even when you said that, the first thing that came into my head was, holy fuck, my goal with the podcast is too small. I need to fucking 10x my goal with the podcast because it's too fucking small.
I agree.
And yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you're thinking, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking, because the Jiu-Jitsu World Champion for me was everything. And then whenever I accomplish, it came that thing that, what now? Okay, what I'm going to do now, what I'm going to put my energy on. And then it was MMA, get in the UFC, become a champion. And then it's still like, I had those goals right down. I got to buy a house. I remember I said, I got to buy a car. I don't even say I buy a house in the beginning, but I say rent a bigger house because the apartment was so small. And then I had a couple goals, and then eventually buy a house, get a green car. Boom. And then I remember I have several goals, like maybe 15, 10 goals, get a better contract, and then get a financial, like freedom, get a better financial peace. That was the word. Get a financial peace, get a green card, put the kids in a good school, move to a better community. And the main one was becoming a UFC champion. That was the number one. And under that, I have several goals.
So this was your American dream then?
Yeah, my American dream.
This is your American dream, because you had your Brazilian dream was to become the Jiu-Jitsu world champion. And then when you left Brazil and when you landed in California for the first time, I think it was California, wasn't it?
California, yeah. First time, yeah.
Then that's when you came, okay, right now I've got my American dream, and this is when you started your new thing. Yeah. And you're fulfilling those prophecies now.
And I accomplished all of that. It's just one. Just the UFC belt, it didn't accomplish yet.
So what is the difference now? Because obviously you're 37, which is great. You've got experience, but obviously you're older. How you think you've got 3 years left to become this UFC world champion? What is what do you think is your pathway to doing that? What have you got to? I know you've got to win a fight, obviously, to become world champion. That's obvious. But what do you think you've got to do differently now to make sure that happens?
To be honest, I think this year I was doing amazing. I just got a big win in Brazil, especially after that Khamzat fight, the Khamzat Chimaev. That was a big fight.
But you got a win bonus for, even though obviously that was a narrow loss and everything.
Fight of the year. You got a trophy, fight of the year. But super close, ended up losing. And then very hard to get another fight. Took him a little while. Eventually fought in Brazil the beginning of this year. Beat Neil Magny first round. On the same week, he got a call. We want you to fight Jorge Masvidal here in Miami. Came here, beat George here. After that, I got a phone call from my manager offering another fight, and I think that was a little bit of hurry. Remember that we talk about those moments that sometimes you gotta enjoy a little bit, or sometimes you gotta.
That's the experience piece that you didn't previously have. Using that experience to just give yourself that little bit more time when you know your body's not right. My body.
I was feeling great, to be honest, but I didn't respect a training camp. I just didn't respect a preparation. And ended up that I took that fight, short notice, against a tough guy that was doing very good. Ended up injuring myself in the first round. But I rolled the dice, like that was the thing. And a win will give me a title shot. That was my goal. But I just think I pushed the process a little bit, and then I've been on the process for so long. And I think we got to take every step necessary. There's no jumping a process, not trying to, let's make it easy, let's go here. No, I think that was the little bit of the mistake that I did, trying to push the process so much to get the title shot that I kind of end up injuring myself and losing the fight. And I do believe I'm still super close of a title shot in the UFC. I've been fighting anyone at any time, all the guys in the division, toughest guys I faced. And even the ones that I lost, I never got demolished. I always fought my heart, and I always hurt these guys, and I always been showing who I am. And I think, like, going back to your question, what do I need to do to become a champion? I think I'm very close. I just need to respect the process a little bit. Like, get a good title, get a good fight, prepare, respect my training camp, make sure I get a good training camp, everything on point, get a huge win. Especially, too, right now it's not about just winning just winning a fight. Right now I need to finish. I want to finish. I think getting to a fight, and if I just win, it does okay for me. But if I go out there
and demolish someone
and demolish the guy, like destroy the guy, I'm gonna be next.
Who do you want to fight to prove that you're ready for the shot?
I want to fight all these top level guys. I love to fight. If you ask, let's call one out. Let's call one out. I love to fight Colby Covington. There's a fight that I always, last 3-4 years, I've been thinking about it. But he's the one fighting Leon Edwards now for the title. They didn't confirm. I heard it's going to be November or December. So I still got time. I'm going to be in preparation. 6 more weeks. I went on my doctor on Monday. I got 6 more weeks. Finally on the shoulder recovery to be clear to 100% training. So now getting my shoulder strong. I just got a call when I was here. I know it's from the doctor. They just confirmed tomorrow at 4 I'm going to do a stem cell. That's going to be the last thing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Over in my shoulder. I did one already. That's going to
where do you do the stem cells in America, or do you do stem cells?
I do in America because the USADA, they were doing in Colombia and a lot of different places, but they put a couple peptides, they put extra things on the stem cell that are not cleared by the USADA. So I had a meeting with the guys at the USADA. They said, no, let's do it in America. They have a very good place in Salt Lake City that they send here. It's coming tonight. It's getting here tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to put billions of stem cells on my shoulder. And that should help me big time.
So what does, just because I want the audience to be aware as well, like what do the stem cells exactly do with your shoulder then? How's it been explained to you?
The way they explain to me is the stem cells, as soon as you inject in the body, those are billions of cells and baby cells that come to a body, and the way they come, they looking for inflammation. They see to a bad cell, they want to make the cell better. So that's why they inject in the place. So when I injected last time, I went to my doctor. He put a ultrasound, and then he could see where the injury was. He injects right there 1 billion of new baby cells. And those cells are there. They see the damage right there, and they're going to start repairing. But like, it's not one, it's not 100, it's not 1,000.
Billions, yeah.
Billions of cells working on that injury. So you see, that's why the recovery is so big. I've been hearing about stem cells for a while, but lately, the last 2 years, people be saying, bro, it's just different. To be honest, the first time that I didn't have a full range of motion on my shoulder. And they put on the 3 places that I had an injury on my AC joint, my deltoid, and I had a torn on my trapezius muscle. I still have a strain on the C5 and on the C6. But whenever they apply the stem cells, it hurt because it feel that was in the bone, very close to the bone, and a lot of pressure. I didn't have a full motion on the body. They put the stem cell, it hurt so much. When I woke up in the morning, it was just a miracle, just like...
Wow. That quick. Literally that quick.
Wow. I was just like, I love that thing, and then that's going to be the second time that I'm doing it. And I just believe he helped me big time, and I know a lot of cases. Kamaru Usman was the one that put it on his knees, feeling a lot better, and all the fighters that have been doing, Sean O'Malley, and a lot of even... close friends that I have. My accountant, he has a problem in the lower back. He went all the way to Colombia, and he's feeling amazing right now. Yeah, his team was pretty
Yeah, my mate Brendan, who's been on the podcast, he's an MMA world champion, and he's just been to Colombia.
PFL, right?
Yeah, PFL. Yeah. He's a beast, bro.
He's a beast.
Bro, he's fucking
crazy striking. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Well, have you met before?
No, not yet.
I'll have to introduce you to, because I've told him today that you're coming on.
He's a beast.
So he respects you too, yeah. And he went to Colombia recently to have stem cells as well.
How is it feeling?
Yeah, because he says it's elite level, and he's in immaculate condition for his age too, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He keeps himself immaculate. You know what I'm saying? So these stem cells, there's definitely a lot of fighters that are getting them, and I think if once you retire as well, like just keep wherever there's an injury, just put stem cells in there. What does it cost to do this kind of treatment?
No, it was the UFC.
So the UFC cover it all?
UFC cover it all, especially that injury was during the fight. Even after the fight, they say, anything that you need, don't worry about it.
So break down how it works then for the UFC. You get paid for the fight, and they look after all your health care and everything else whilst you're in it. So obviously you're part of an organisation, so it's not like boxing where you're paid for one fight and then they just let you go out to pasture. It's like they care for you in the in-between time as well. They
do. If I'm getting hurt, getting ready to a fight, if I'm on a training camp with the fight sign it, and I'm under contract to a fight and I get injury, they take care of. After the fight, any injury that I have, and we all know, especially the guys from my gym, we let everyone know, any injury that you have, or any possibly, the shoulder's been bothering me, or these little injury, we let them know after the fight, because then it's all covered. Even if I had a little knee injury, but I put on after the fight, I let the doctors know that I have that, and it's on my insurance. Even if 4 or 5 months after that I get hurt, it's still covered because I heard that in the fight.
So they actually look after you amazingly well then in the UFC.
They do, and they have the Institute of Performance back in Vegas. If you want to go there to do any type of testing, like they have a concussion test, they have nutritionists, they have strength conditioning, they have, now I heard that they have even a psychologist. They have everything in there. Everything in there You just go to Vegas, and I'm pretty sure they take care of your flight, of your staying, and you do any type of test that you need, and they take care of.
How's your relationship been with Dana over the years and everything like that?
Yeah, I have a great relationship with Dana. I don't deal a lot with Dana, but we have a good relationship. I deal more with Hunter Campbell. He's the lawyer, and this is the one that doing. He's the guy, I believe, if Dana leaves, he's the one that's going to take over. So Hunter Campbell is a big part of the UFC right now. Another guy that I have a good relationship to is Sean Shelby. He's the matchmaker. He's the one that gets, that card was amazing. Yeah, props to Sean Shelby.
Yeah.
He's the one working making those fights happen. Yeah, those are the two guys that I talk the most with on the UFC, Sean Shelby, Hunter Campbell, and then Dana. But every time that I want to fight, that I'm calling someone now, that we're having a talk, I already talk to Dana. Hey, I want this fight. Give me this guy.
Yeah. Whose decision was it, do you think, to give you obviously when that fight became Fight of the Year, whose decision was it for you to get paid a win bonus as well?
I think it's Dana White and Sean Shelby that got this. I think
that was a good gesture.
I think after the fight, he paid. So, there are 3 ways to get paid in the UFC. So you get your show money.
Yep.
That's a guarantee. If you make the weight, if you're fighting, you get your show money. If you win, you get your win bonus. And if it's a great fight of the night, a good performance, you go plus 50,000. So I got my show money, I lost the fight, and I got the bonus of fight of the night.
He gave you the bonus, yeah.
But because the fight was very
so
good,
yeah.
so close, he gave me my win bonus too.
What's a win bonus in the UFC?
It's different for fighter to fighter, but like a beginner is very low. It's like 10 plus 10. So 10 to show, 10 to win. The guy that's very on the beginning of the UFC, after 3 or 4 fights, they renegotiate and they change the contract, and then goes up like maybe four times that, triples that, like 40 plus 40. If the guy keeps going that, and then he goes to 80, and then 100, 300, and then a couple guys is still same plus same, let's say 200 plus 200. But a couple guys, I heard when the contract gets very good, those guys get more show money, like 400 to show up and maybe 200 to win. So it depends a lot on the contract, based on the contract. But show money, whenever the guys are high, I believe like Justin Gage, Dustin Poirier, those guys have so many fights in the UFC, they're fan favorite. I do believe those guys be around 400, 500 to show. I mean, I'm not sure, but that's what I think.
What you believe, yeah.
What I believe. And they might get like 300, 400 with a win, So then we have the show bonus and you have the win bonus.
And you guys can realistically fight with the UFC because of the structure of it. You can realistically fight, 3 to 4 times in a year, couldn't you?
Yes, you can. At least 3, 4. I think it will be so much. A couple guys for 4 times. But most of the guys, they fight 3 times a year. 2, if no injury,
So once that's healed, 2024, how many fights do you need to have in 2024? In your mind?
I think, like 6 weeks, I'll be clear. That gives us to October, right? Middle of October.
Will you fight this year, you reckon?
I don't think so.
No, it's just over 2024.
Realistically, I need, like I said, just push through the process. Now I got to make sure I do every step out of the way 100%. So I believe January or February will be a great day for me to come back. And I think it'll be 100%. And I'll try to fight a guy that is on the top 5. So I'm the number 5 right now. I'll try to fight number 4, 3, 2, or 1. If that's available, because sometimes they are not available. If not, I'll try to fight a top 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't want to go too much behind. And I do believe a dominant, strong performance gets me a title shot. If not, if like he's another guy already to a title shot, I think one more will give me. So I do believe a big win in February, you get me very close. If not a title shot, then maybe one more. So the way I see myself, everything goes on my way, doing the way I'm hoping and expecting. I think by the end of the next year, I'm fighting for the title.
Man, I'm excited to see you deliver on this new vision you've got and your American dream. I'm excited for that for you because it's the final piece of your American dream. I think it's fantastic. How much has your life changed really then by coming to America and just obviously experiencing this lifestyle that you have here, the training, the facilities, the abundance? I mean, even just stepping off the plane here, I know there's a lot of there's poverty in places here and all that kind of stuff, and I know there's some bad parts of America. But even in just Florida and just seeing how much, how quickly you could make money just by even getting a mop and a bucket and starting to like clean people's windows or homes, you could make money here. Like there's just so much abundance of cash. Not everyone, but there's a lot of abundance of money. Like
yes, it's abundance, like you're saying, is fair. In Brazil, the way I see it's not fair. A guy that works has a okay job that works there, he doesn't make money. He's gonna be so hard for this guy to make it. Like right here, we see a guy working on a grocery store, works on a Publix, on another one. This guy can have a car. He, for sure, he not having the best life, but he has access. That's the hardest thing in Brazil. Doesn't have. Just to get by, you gotta work super hard. The way I see it doesn't look fair, it's just not fair in Brazil. The abundance is different. Guy with the regular job here makes a good living. In Brazil, regular job, but he's surviving. Like, that's the difference. That's the biggest difference. And I saw that when I was here. So first I met Vitor, and then I moved to Vegas, and I started training Vitor. I still on a tourist visa. I will stay in Vegas, go back to Brazil, stay in Vegas. Then we decided to move to Florida. And when I get first time here in Florida, I would say, okay, I want to live here.
Yeah, it's the best place, isn't it? Like
back then was California, but when I got here, especially it was kind of like Delray, Boca, the Black Cilias. When I was there, we're like, man, I want to live right here. That's the place. And we're always like here, back and forth with the tourist visa, coming, train a little bit, go back, go a couple fights. Then my wife got pregnant. And then when I was here, it was cool, but I was always saving money, doing seminars, and got back to Brazil. And then she was pregnant. And then we were living, I was living in Niterói then I went back, moved to São Paulo, then I got back to Rio. I was already with her, 2011. Afterwards, I stayed with Vitor, but I still living in Brazil. Staying in U.S., but living in Brazil with her. And she got pregnant. So she used to live in the favela, but like favela.
Wow.
If we go there, we go up and we see the drug dealers, we see the guys with the guns, like for real, like. But we didn't, she was living in the favela, but when we started living together, we live down. It's still a little ghetto, but we don't see the guys with the guns, But then when we were living there, we was in an apartment. But then they have a guy selling crack there, a bunch of crackheads in there. And the apartment, you could hear like 5 a.m., they started lining with those crackheads. And that thing was insane because those guys were taking older refrigerators. Like those guys was maybe 120 pounds, so skinny, sucked up with the crack, like hallucinated, and bro, getting a refrigerator on the back. Picture that, or a big stove on the back, taking there to sell. So I remember she was pregnant, and then when I see those guys, I say, I don't want my kid to grow up here. I want them to grow up in Florida. So then we decided to move here. We almost moved for him to born here, but was the first kid, was we didn't know what to expect. So she had a family there, I had family there. We wait for Pedro, my first son, to born there. After 6 months, we sold everything out of the house, everything. I had a car, we sold the car, we sold everything, and then we moved. Crazy thing is, when I moved, I still came in the tourist visa, and I didn't know what I'm going to do, but I moved. Not a lot of plan. I know I'm going to become a UFC fighter. I know I'm going to be a champion. I didn't know how. I didn't know when, but we just moved. And things started slowly. And then I remember after 4 months, I was broke. The whole money was gone because I got to buy a car, rent an apartment, first deposit and last year payment. Then I was getting broken. I started teaching. I started doing seminars. I started doing a couple grappling fights. I was 6-0. I got a fight in Brazil. I had my first knockout. I had 4 wins, 4 wins by submission, 1 TKO. I knocked the guy out in Brazil, 6-0. I was training here, going back. Then I got another fight in Brazil against a very tough guy. This guy was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, good jiu-jitsu. And he was a Muay Thai fighter too, good striking. That was the toughest fight. I said, man, that fight's going to be very tough. And I went to Brazil to fight, and I remember I knocked that guy out in the first round. I didn't expect that. I didn't know my hands were that heavy, but that's when I started kind of understanding all that. And then when I moved back, I still broke because the money in Brazil, when we got here in the exchange, the money is like nothing.
Yeah.
I get a couple $1,000 I pay here and there, and then I got the call from the UFC. Then things started getting a little bit better. And then I signed with the UFC. Things started getting a little bit better. Then my wife got pregnant again for the second baby. Then I started fighting the UFC. And then it kind of changed, But it was always, like I said, it's always that little, shit, now she's pregnant. Now we got to move to the U.S. And then when we moved, now I was broke. And then I got to fight. Okay, now I got to beat this guy. Then I beat the guy. Now I signed with the UFC. And then that's when literally when the American dream started.
I love it, mate. And you've always just kind of just kept pushing that thing. One thing I want to ask you before we get off this podcast is, obviously, Logan Paul's fighting Dylan Dennis. Obviously, Dylan, you probably know real well. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that fight and who wins?
Dylan used to be very good at jiu-jitsu. Like I said, a black belt is different. But on the lower belt, he was doing great. He was, I think, two times jiu-jitsu champion, the lower belt, purple belt, brown belt. Then he's got his black belt, and then he got a big fight with his former coach, Marcelo Garcia, one of the best, Hall of Fame. And then he got expelled from that gym. And then he got with Conor. And then he kind of stopped competing a lot of jiu-jitsu. And then he did a little, I think maybe 1 or 2 MMA fights. And then he got double knee surgery, and then he got to redo the surgery, and he got a big layout. And after that, now he's going to do his first fight back from those surgeries. He's supposed to fight KSI, and they canceled that fight. He can fight. I'll give that guy that. He talks so much, he's crazy, but he can fight. The thing is, I don't know what shape he's going to be there. I don't know the experience. I don't know coming back from the surgery. And Logan Paul, good or bad, the guy for KSI lost for Floyd. I think there's a ton of experience there. Win fighting Floyd Mayweather. Now he's going to fight. He's bigger. He's in shape. He's training. Guy looks massive.
I don't reckon he'd pass the drug test though.
No, for sure. I don't think they do drug tests. They have no USADA in those boxing fights.
He's never passing one of them, is he?
No way.
Look at his condition. I mean, even before he started training camp, his condition was unbelievable. I think there's a lot of supplements.
A lot. Juice, a lot of secret juice. Yeah. But I think Logan Paul wins this fight. I think more experience. Just the fight with Floyd alone gives you a lot of experience. Dylan has been this active guy on social media talking a lot of crap. I saw a couple of videos, a couple of photos from Logan Paul fiancé. I don't know. I think when you talk so much, it can go both ways.
Yeah, you can either back it up like the Conor McGregor most of the time, or you can end up
becoming slave or the things that you said. So we'll see. But I think Logan Paul wins this fight.
Crazy. I wasn't expecting you to say that. Because obviously I'd read a lot about Dylan, and obviously he was champion of jiu-jitsu at a certain point.
Now. He's not a jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, no jiu-jitsu in it, is there? But obviously, kind of a bit of pedigree.
And the 1 or 2 MMA fights that he had, he fought a very low-level competition, and he didn't throw any strike, It was just, he pure grappling, took this guy down couple seconds and finish. We're about to see his strike.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. I'm going to watch. It's going to be fun.
But, mate, honestly, it's been unbelievable to get your journey out on here, and I think it's going to add a lot of value to this audience. But there's one question I like to ask before I leave the podcast, and I always ask it because I think it gives people a real context into not only who you are, but gives them something really actionable to take away in the day. And I say this, if you had to leave the world tomorrow, you couldn't take any of the accolades with you, your family or anything like that, but you could just leave one piece of advice for the people who listen to this podcast, and that one thing takes them forward 1% in their life from this day forward, what would it be?
I'll try to do the thing that I love. I think that's the best advice that I can give to you, because I didn't know jiu-jitsu would give me money. I didn't know anything, but I had that goal to become a jiu-jitsu world champion. And I learned so much on that journey. That journey make me who I am. The journey make me all the goods and bads, and turning me to who I am, So I think you gotta find a purpose. You gotta find something that you really want, that you really love, and freaking pursue that a lot. I think then you're gonna live a happy life pursuing what you want. Even though a lot of ups and downs, like a lot of hard times with jiu-jitsu, moving out of places, and like living in a very small place with 4 guys, but I was pursuing something that I love, and I was always happy because even a lot of ups and downs, but because I was pursuing what I want, I was trying to achieve what I love, I can be done, because I had a very happy life, even with a lot of struggle, with a lot of ups and downs, but pursuing what I love, it makes me live a very happy life,
I love that, mate. I really do. I think that puts it into a context for a lot of you listening to this. Just follow what you love and kind of lean in more to doing things that light you up. And I think that's going to put you on the right path. And that is Gilbert Burns. And, mate, I appreciate your time today. And do me a favor, guys. Share this podcast with everyone you know. Get everyone involved. Get everyone that loves the UFC to listen to this podcast too. And also people that just want more out of life. If you listen to Gilbert's story and you don't get something from it at a high level and take that and put that into your life, I think you're crazy. But share this on every platform you can. I appreciate all of you listening. Much love.
Guys, do me a solid favor. Drop a comment below this video and let us know who you want on the podcast next.